So what made you choose UMaine?
Yeah, it's interesting. I first I thought it was maybe bigger schools. I was kind of that player that if this guy did accept a scholarship, well, that was my opportunity at the, that next Division I level. Because I was athletic, I was big, but I wasn't overly developed physically. I probably didn't commit into the weight room as much as I should have. So I kind of slotted in well at that FCS level. And at the time it was Northeastern and BU, Maine, New Hampshire, like that type, Holy Cross. I ended up coming down. I wasn't sure I wanted to be in the city. I came down to Maine and New Hampshire and I chose Maine. It was just, I had a feeling. Kirk Ferentz was there at the time. As we progressed in my story, it ended up paying off for me. But Kirk Ferentz was the head coach there. I liked the assistant coach, Jack Cosgrove, who coached there forever. Was there, a guy by the name of John Bonamigo that I liked a lot. They recruited me and I just felt comfortable. And when I'm up there, Maine is a unique place, right? It's very hard to recruit up there. Get some Jersey kids, some New York kids, a lot of Mass and Mainers, very unique kids. And I went to 5 years of college with some very unique dudes, which I would not trade for anything. And I just felt comfortable. When you're making decisions as an 18-year-old kid, for me personally, I wasn't basing on what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I could barely take care of myself when I got to college, I just felt I loved the coaches. I loved the kids. When I went on the recruiting trips, I went up there several times. And I just had a feeling and it worked out. It just felt right for me.
And talk about playing. So you played for Cosgrove.
Yeah.
Again, he was there for, 15 years, 20 years?
Yeah, something like 20 years. So he got the job. So my first year was probably like 94. And he was there for a good 20 years. Perfect Maine coach, right? It's hard to get coaches up there because they don't have the money to pay assistant coaches. So you need a guy that's going to stay there. They have a coach there now that I think he's a Maine guy. He wants to be there. So those assistant coaches come and go. I noticed as I got into the professional ranks, and then working over at Pingree with recruiting, I run into more guys that have coached at Maine that played there, like the tentacles of that school, because it's kind of a little bit of a stepping stone for the assistant coaches. Going up there and playing up there, meeting a lot of people and playing for Jack was great. Kirk Ferentz for a year and Jack was the head coach for the rest of the time. And we struggled for a few years, but then it kind of fell into place where, we had Joe Gilbert was the offensive run game coordinator, offensive coordinator, and he has been with the Carolina Panthers. He was with Tampa when they won a Super Bowl. Neil McGrath, who was defensive coordinator at Brown for so many years, he started getting the defense coordinator. So when that came together, we started getting successful. We were very good my senior year, and we saw after that they made playoff runs from that kind of era. So it was good. It's good being up there, and things have changed, facility-wise, which is good for the program. But I enjoyed it. Jack was a great head coach, great guy, loved the program, loved the school, loved the state. He went there. You needed a guy like that up there. So.
Would you say he shaped your coaching career at all now?
Yeah, 100%. There's not a coach that doesn't shape you in some way, good or bad, right? You have coaches that will say, that's not the way I would approach things. But Jack was a great communicator, right? His interaction with the kids, but the way he interacted with the other coaches and families. You see that how dealing with it at Pingree and here. Pingree a little bit more because you do recruit a little bit more there, but how he interacted with families, right? How he handled players in games. Any positional coach or head coach, they touch you in so many different ways. But, his demeanor was great. And I still talk. I literally just talked to him, yesterday about a kid from here, and I've talked to him a lot, and he's always asking. But great guy, cared about the players. So when you have a guy like that in college, great atmosphere because it was a small community, it wasn't a bigger school, so he had that option to really care for the players. My senior year, I ended up being a captain, so I had a lot of chance. We had more personal conversations that I enjoyed, whether it's individually or as a captain group. So, Jack was, certainly a part of molding me as a player. But then, looking back now, you always pick different things from coaches, whether it was their philosophy, how they teach, but it could be something quick and passing that they did. You always pick that up and you try to put these pieces together and mold what you are as a coach.